Good morning, guys, or excuse me, good afternoon or good night, depending on whenever you're doing this reading lesson. But hi, Miss Acton wants to tell you hi. So today is September 30th, 2020. It is a Wednesday, and I'm hiding my cartoon Miss Acton. It is Hump Day. Woohoo! So it means we're halfway through the week. The season is fall, which you guys know because we've been talking about every day, and you're starting to see leaves falling off the tree. That's a good sign that it's fall. And it's supposed to be a beautiful day today. So get your work done, get that reading, writing, math done, get outside and play in that sunshine today. It's supposed to be a beautiful day, not supposed to be too hot or too cold, just supposed to be an awesome day today. Get outside. All right, so we're doing reading today with Miss Acton. Today we're going to be reading a story about a goat and a fox. So I will identify, this is what you're going to be doing today. I will identify, which is just a fancy word for find, the message, lesson, learn, moral. You all learned yesterday, lesson, learn, message, and moral all mean the same thing. They're the same thing. Of a fable, which is a story with animals in it, by using clues in the story. So we're going to be reading another story that only has animals in it. It's going to give you clues in the story that can help you identify or find the moral message or lesson learned of the story, which means it's going to show you how you can make your life better by changing yourself to a better person. All right, so to find the moral lesson of the story, you have to look for something that is going to teach you something. Okay. I keep using the example of a homeless man that Miss Acton just, happened to see, and somebody didn't treat him so nicely because they didn't know his story. So once he told his story, and it was, really sad, it taught that person something, and it influenced him to change his mind. So he started to think, okay, this guy needs my help. And then he acted in that way that he thought by um, giving him money or going out and buying him food. And hopefully that's the way that you think anytime that you see somebody who's homeless. There's usually a reason why they're homeless, and it's usually something that was out of their control. Today, Miss Acton's going to be presenting the story to you in a kind of different way. Instead of just giving tiny bits of it every slide, we're going to read the whole story in one piece first. But I'm going to show you how you can still, even though I'm not breaking it down, how you can still find that main character, find if it's the beginning, the middle, or the end, which is super easy, and show how the beginning and the middle of the character usually stays the same and is usually doing something that's not so good, and how in the end they tend to learn something and change in some way. And then the symbol is the one that we've been using. Oh, so before we do that, there is something that is in this story that I want to kind of dig a little deeper in, that way you understand it. So we're going to use our Jamboard to help us. So at the very end of this story, um, between our fox and our goat, the fox says something to them. And the more that I read it, the more I was like, I don't really get that too much. So I'm worried that second graders might not either. Miss Acton's been on this earth for more than 20 years longer than you have. So 20 more years that I've been getting my brain bigger, becoming smarter, reading books, taking college classes. So if it was something that was difficult for my brain to figure out, there's a good chance you all might have trouble at home too. So I want to make it to where you won't need that trouble. So we're going to chop it off right now and take care of it. And then whenever we read the story, it'll make sense to you. So you all know what a brain is. Everybody point to your brain for me. Yeah, it's in here. And this is a picture of a silhouette. Looks like a man on the outline of his head. And then he's got a brain in there. You've got a brain in there too. Your brain is a amazing thing. An amazing thing. It holds all this information. It helps you remember your name every day. Helps you remember that you need to get on with Miss Acton, Miss Ramos, and Miss Just from 10 to 10:30 every day. It helps you remember how you find your Google Meets, how you found this classwork today and got your reading done. It's going to help you fill out this assignment. It helps you with a lot of different things, and there's just some examples in here. So if you play an instrument, your brain is helping you remember how to play that instrument. If you play a sport, your brain is teaching you how to do well at that sport and how to get better every time that you play. Your brain tells you what foods that you like. That way, when you go visit the fridge and you see a big onion, bleh, I want to eat that. No, your brain's saying, nope, the last time we ate that, you about threw up. Don't eat it. Your brain is doing a million things at one time, guys. And there's a ton of information in there. And you all are only 7 and 8 years old. Imagine how much stuff's going to be in there when you're Miss Acton's age, when you're 30 years old or even older, okay? So what I'm showing you is that everyone has a brain and there's a lot of information in there, okay? But let's say that somebody said this to you. You do not have a lot of brains. I'm going to read that again. You do not have a lot of brains. So when I think of somebody doesn't have a lot of something, like, oh, I don't have a lot of money, it means that your money is small. You don't have a big amount of money. Oh, you don't have a lot of crowns. It means you only have 1 or 2 crowns. If I did have a lot of crowns, I would have like 100 of them, like a huge box filled with crowns, every color that you could think of. Okay. So whenever we think about the saying, you do not have a lot of brains, I want you to think about this picture right here. So which one of these shows you that you do not have a lot of brain? Which one of these? This one or this one? Right, this one. Shows a tiny brain in that big head. Whereas this one shows a brain that's almost taking up the entire head. And that's how your brain looks in your head. But whenever someone says you don't have a lot of brains, they mean, oh, your brain's just really tiny. What do they really mean? Think about what that brain holds. Yeah, it holds things that you know. It holds things that make you smart. It holds things that make you special. So someone is telling you that you don't have a lot of brains. They're really just telling you in a not as mean way that you're not very smart. That a person that has a big brain can think, oh yeah, I'm not going to jump in front of this car right now because it'll hit me and I might die. But if they're telling you do not have a lot of brains, that means they're saying, oh, this person would definitely walk in front of a moving car because they're just not so smart. They don't know any different. Okay. So in this story, there's going to be a part where the fox says a saying similar to this, not exactly like this, to our goat in the story. And I want you to be able to take it as, oh, he's telling him that he's doesn't have a lot of brains in his head. He's not as smart as what he should be. Okay. Let's take a look at some pictures. So I've got my big brain, which means smart. You've got a lot of brains, and our little brain, which means you don't have a lot of brains. And we know really that's just you saying that you're not making good decisions, that I hate using this word, that you're dumb. I hate using that word, but that's what that saying is. Let's take a look at this picture. We got a little guy, and he's reaching for something. Yeah, a pot, and it's on a stove. So there's a good chance that stove and that pot are probably hot. So is this little guy showing that he has a lot of brains or not a lot of brains? Right, he's showing that he does not have a lot of brains. Now he's just a little guy, he's just learning the world. So hopefully mom or dad's right there and it can say, oh no, no, don't touch that, it's hot. No, no, don't touch that. I'm saying that to my baby all the time now. Um, so his brain has a chance to get bigger and get that information and to teach him not to touch stuff that's on the stove. But for now, we could say, it's mean, and I hope you don't say it in real life, but you could use the saying he doesn't have a lot of brains because he's making a decision that's not so smart. All right, what about down here? We got a guy who looks like he's working hard. He's got his pen in his hand. And it looks like he's a book's open. Maybe he's studying. So would you say that this person has a lot of brains or doesn't have a lot of brains? Right, he has a lot of brains. He's trying to get himself smarter, right? That's a good decision. That's what everyone should do right before they're taking, a test or right before they're trying to do something good in the classroom. They're trying to get as much information as they can to make themselves look smarter. So yeah, your brain is big in this picture. All right, about this one. These two are a little bit harder. You got to really look for the clues in the story or in the picture. All right, so we got a lady and a guy walking on the crosswalk right there, which you see a lot. I mean, around our building, there's a ton of them. The Rutherford building, the school. But I want you to pay attention to this right here. Yeah, are they following this road sign? Yes, they are. So that's a sign of a guy walking along. So the sign is telling them that yes, it is safe. No cars are going to hit you. You can walk across the crosswalk. So are they doing a smart thing? Are they showing that they have a lot of brains or showing they don't have a lot of brains? Right, they're showing they have a lot of brains. Good job. Yeah, they're following the road signs. They're using that big brain they've got in their noggin to keep themselves safe. Yes. So you definitely wouldn't tell these two people, yeah, you don't have a lot of brains. You would tell them they have a lot because they're doing everything right. All right, now we have this little kid right here, and he's in a car. What are you thinking? Ooh, having a little bit of trouble with this? So you're in a car, cars are moving, and cars sometimes get into crashes. And if you are not wearing your seat belt and you do get in a crash, you can seriously hurt yourself. This little man is sitting all the way up in the front seat. He should be in the back seat with his back on that chair with that seatbelt going across his body right there to help keep him protected in case his car crashes into something and he doesn't go flying out the window. So is he showing that he's got a lot of brain or he doesn't have a lot of brain? He doesn't have a lot of brain. Right. Very bad decision. So he's showing us that he doesn't have a lot of brains because he's making a really bad decision, a really, I hate this word, a really dumb decision. Blech. I don't like that word. I don't even like saying it. All right. So what did we learn? I want to hear it. Tell me. What did we learn just now? Okay. So we learned that we've got a brain. Yeah. And our brain holds, yeah, information. That information makes us smarter. Yeah, makes us smarter. I feel like glasses are always a symbol that someone is smart. Come on, I want a nice circle right there. Yeah, shows that you're smarter, right? So if somebody says that you have a small brain and a big head, yeah, they're saying that you're not very smart. Not smart. Oh, that's not going to be good. Don't have enough room there. Saying that you're not smart and you're probably not going to make smart decisions. Like you might touch a hot stove. You might get into a car and not wear your seatbelt. You might walk across the street that doesn't tell you that you can walk safely, that has the stop hand saying, nope, don't go. Or that you have a big test the next day and you decide not to study and just, I'll just see how good I do. Those are all things that people would do that are not so smart. And so, a way that you would say that to that person is say that they don't have a lot of brain. Not a lot means a little brain. Okay. All right. So, good. All right. So, we're going to go back to our story. Get me out of the way. I'm always in the way. All right. So, I'm going to read our whole story all at once, and then Miss Acton's going to go through our slides and break it down a little bit more. Okay. All right. The Fox and the Goat is our story. The Fox and the Goat. The fox fell into a well, and this is what the well is, and it has water on the bottom of it. It's usually a lot deeper, but this well isn't very deep. The fox fell into a well and could not get out. After he had been in the well a long time, a thirsty goat came by. There's our goat. I want you to notice his horns on top. Those are important. The fox had gone down to drink, and so he asked if the water, sorry, the goat thought the fox had gone down to drink, and so he asked if the water was good. The best water I have ever had, said the sneaky fox. Jump in and try it. There is plenty. The thirsty goat jumped in and began to drink. He didn't even think, guys. He said, oh, okay, whoop, into the well he went. The fox jumped on the goat's back and then to his horns and then out of the well. And now we're at this picture down here. So now the goat is in the well and the fox is out now. So they switch spots. The goat now saw the trick the fox played on him and begged the fox to help him. The fox was already on his way to the woods. If you had as much brains as you did horns, you would have thought about how to get out of the well before you got in. So hopefully you noticed that part that's giving you a hint about the goat not being so smart, not having a lot of brains. If you didn't catch it, guess who's going to help you catch it? Me. All right. Oh, so let's start with the beginning part of this. So you heard the story one time, kind of got the gist of it. Now let's break it down piece by piece. So first we're at the beginning. So B, we're at the beginning. It says the fox fell into the well, could not get out. After he'd been in the well for a long time, a thirsty goat came by, and the goat asked him, is the water any good? So far, we've got a fox that is in trouble. Our characters are the fox, and our character is the goat, and the goat's just come along to get a drink. So we just know the fox is in trouble. We don't really know too much about the goat anymore, other than he's asking the fox for help. Okay. Right. Oh. All right, so now we are in the middle. So let's read this part. The best water I have ever had, said the sneaky fox. Jump in and try it. There is plenty. So right now the fox is doing the talking right now, and he's tricking that goat. He's telling the goat, yeah, come on in here. It's the tastiest water I've ever had. So he's being sneaky and tricking that goat. The thirsty goat jumped in and began to drink. So immediately, right now in this sentence, the thirsty goat jumped in and began to drink. He didn't even think about, oh, that well's pretty deep. If he's in there, how can he get out? He didn't think about the situation. Also, that foxes are usually not very friendly creatures, and they try to get food wherever they can. Now, the goat's pretty big, but that doesn't mean he won't maybe try to overpower the goat and maybe try to turn him into a snack. That goat didn't even sit and think about any of this. He just said, the water is delicious. Jump on in. There's plenty. Okay, whoop, hopped right in. Crazy. You got to be smarter than that. So right now our goat is showing he doesn't have a lot of brains right now. He just jumped right in. So right now we're thinking about our goat. And in the middle of the story, he's not being so smart. So we're learning about this character in the middle of the story that he's starting to show us that he's just not the smartest thing. He's not using his brain before he does things. All right, so now the fox jumped on the goat's back and then up on his horns and then whoop, jumped out of the well. So now our fox is free to go. He's good to go. So we really don't have to worry about him anymore. He got what he wanted. All right, next we're moving to the next part of the story. The goat now saw the trick the fox played on him and begged the fox to help him. The fox was already on his way to the woods. So the goat has kind of gotten a little smarter now. So the goat now saw the trick the fox played on him. So now once he's already in the well, he's already not in a good spot. He's already pretty much made himself in a very, very bad situation. Then he realizes the bad decision that he made. If he would have just took a deep breath, thought about, okay, if I jump in this well, this is going to happen, this is not going to happen, this might happen, and thought about it before he just whoop, jumped right in just because somebody said that it was an answer that he wanted, he would have noticed it, but it's too late now. But so he's getting smarter. So we're still in the middle of the story, and our goat still has made a bad decision that shows he doesn't have a lot of brains, very small brain up there. But now he's getting a little smarter. He's changing his tune. He's showing now that maybe I should have thought about what I was doing before I just boom, just went and did it. And begged the fox to help him. So now he realizes, hey, I'm not in a good shape. So there he is down here looking at the fox saying, hey, can you help me out? Not in good shape. But the fox was already on his way into the woods. The fox is already out there. He has no desire to help this. Just kind of mean of the fox, but that's a whole different story. We're focusing on the goat in this story. Okay. All right. So now we're at the very end of it. And this is the fox speaking. He says, if you had as much brains as you do horns, you would have thought about how to get out of the well before you got in. So let's think about that. If you had as much brains, so remember that brains is what that thing that's making you smart or not. And we already know that this goat has already showed he does not have a lot of brains. Foxes are super smart. I think he notices that too. So he said, if you had as much brains as you do horns, take a look at our goat's horns right here, pretty big. Goats are known, boy goats, male goats, are known for having really big horns. So basically, what the fox is saying is you have huge horns. So if you had as much huge horns as you do brains, then your brain would be huge. But the things you just showed me, you don't have a huge brain. You got a small brain. Your brain is pretty small from the decisions that you make, the not smart decisions. So that's what he means by if you had as much brains, little bitty brain, as you do horns, big horns, you would have thought about how to get out of the well before you got in. And that's exactly right. Up here, whenever the thirsty goat jumped in and began to drink, he just jumped right in. If he would have used his big brain, that should be as big as his big horns, then he would have been like, okay, once I get in there and get a nice drink, am I going to be able to get out? But no, he didn't think about that. He didn't use his brain. So that's what makes that fox think that brain is tiny. He doesn't have a lot of brains in there, okay? So that's the part of the story right there where he changes. He realizes, oh my gosh, the fox has tricked me. I do have a big brain, but I did not use it. I need to think before I do these things. So if I would have thought about how to get out of the well before I got in, thinking before I'm doing something, think before I act, then I wouldn't be in this situation. I would have thought about it and said, yep, not a good decision, and never jumped in here. But now I'm stuck. So you need to think before you act. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Oh, and I need to erase this stuff. Bye bye. Because we don't want this stuff in the way. So while I'm erasing that, I'm going to show you what I took as the moral of the story. And basically, I took how the character changed, that goat changed from the beginning. So he went from making a decision really, really fast to realizing that he should have thought about that decision before he acted on it. He should have thought about what he was going to do before he actually did it. And then maybe, just maybe, he wouldn't have gotten stuck in the well. So think before you act. When you come to a street and you see cars zooming by and you see that sign that says stop, it's got that hand that says stop. You're not just going to say, oh, street, I need to get across it, go. No, you're going to think, oh, this is saying stop. And look at all these cars zooming by. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Yeah, I'm thinking, no, I'm going to die. No, I'm not going to cross this. And you act by sitting still and waiting for the sign to turn from this to the walking guy where you can walk across. When you come up to a stove and mom, dad, granny, auntie, uncle, your family is making something on that stove, you don't just go and say, ooh, food. Ah. You stop and you say, ooh, stuff on the stove is hot. I'm thinking if I touch it, I'm going to burn myself. Ouch, ouch. So I don't want to burn myself. So my action, how I'm going to act is I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to wait. Wait for it to cool off, wait for the grown up to get it, whatever that waiting is for, but that's how you act, okay? I have a test tomorrow. I'm not just going to, I'm just going to go to bed because that's what I feel like right now. No, you're going to think, all right, I have a test tomorrow. I want to do well because the better that I do, the better that I'm going to be prepared for third grade or for the next grade or for college, whatever it is that you're studying for. So I'm going to act by getting my book out, going over the lessons Miss Acton, Miss Ramos, or Miss Justo taught, and go over that learning again to prepare myself. So those are some examples of how you can think before you do something. And if you just do it, usually you're not going to show that you've got a lot of brains up there. You're going to show that you have more of something else than you do of brains. Like Miss Acton right now, if I did something silly, you could say, if she had as much brains as she does hair, look at Miss Acton's big, thick braid, then she maybe wouldn't have done that silly thing that she did. So think if your decision will hurt you. That's a big one. So all the things that Miss Acton just gave you, not so much the test, like it won't hurt you, but it'll hurt your grade. If you're in 12th grade, get ready to graduate and go to college, if you don't do good on a test, it could keep you from going to college. That's not a good thing. That could hurt you. It could hurt your chances of being a teacher or a doctor or whatever your dreams are to be later on in life. But definitely like waiting for the crosswalk instead of just going up, oh, I need to cross the street. Okay, let's just go. No, that could hurt you. That could kill you. It could hurt you so bad. Same thing with the stove, having something hot on the stove. If you go up and just touch it, it's gonna hurt you. It's gonna burn your hands. You might have to go to the hospital if it burns you so bad. So thinking before you act is a skill that kiddos need a lot of help with, but adults do too. So I want you to take this story and kind of maybe think of some ideas that it might have in your life, ways that you can maybe slow down and think about decisions that you're making and then act on those decisions. And you might see that life might make it a little bit better just because you do that, okay? So that's our story for today. Go into your classroom, your classwork, and do your reading for today. Get that done, then do math and writing. And if you have any questions, please contact your teacher so they can help you out. Miss Acton loves you. I miss you guys. I can't wait till we're back in person. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.